we're about to go over now is the learning targets. The things you should have learned over some of the information that we've been through over these last 2 weeks. You all remember some of the things we went over? Tell me some of the things that we went over. Take one and pass it back.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
about the giraffe.
About the giraffe. What about the giraffe?
How they necks.
Huh?
How they necks.
Their necks. What about their necks?
How
The word short, and then what else?
they got longer when the trees start getting high.
So they can do what?
Reach the food.
Reach the food, eat. And they can eat for what purpose? To survive. So basically, we've been talking about survival, right? Right? Okay. So what we're going to do now, thank you. What we're going to do now, you got a sheet in front of you. Once you get it, you have a worksheet in front of you. On this worksheet, we're going to go down this worksheet. What you're going to do is you're going to, based upon what you remember, or based upon what you know, you're going to check one of those boxes. If you feel like the subject that we've covered, you're strong in, you will put a 4. If you're like, okay, I know it pretty good, but I don't know it perfectly, you put a 3. If you just say, you know, I remember it, but I can't necessarily recall everything about it, but I know a little bit about it, you put a 2. If you just like, I just can't remember none of it, you put a 1. Does everybody understand that? Does everybody understand that? Okay.
No.
Don't worry, no, just check in about this. Just check in about it. Don't worry about it. All right?
Ignore the B and the A.
Yeah, the B and A is the options. Don't worry about it. Just ignore that part. Just check in the box. Everybody got that?
Yes.
Does everybody understand that?
Sir.
Yes, ma'am. We'll go over. We'll go over. We'll go over. All right? Now, don't worry about it. Just check what you know. This is right now is for us to be able, and for you to be able to tell yourself exactly what you remember, so that you can go back over it and learn more about it. Does everybody understand that? Does everybody understand that? Are we confused about what we're doing? Yes, ma'am.
How do we check in the law? It's like 2 different boxes for each.
Okay. Now, say I asked you about a car, and you didn't know that much about the car. So you will put, okay, I don't know really much about it. I need some help with it. That'll be number 1. Say I asked you about a car, and you knew a little bit about the car. You don't know much, you know a little bit about the car. You will put a 2. Say I asked you about a car, and you know pretty much almost everything about the car. You will put a 3. And I ask you about the same car, and you know everything hands down about that car, you'll put a 4. Because you're very proficient in the knowledge about that car. You got it?
No, you didn't answer my question.
What was your question?
Where am I supposed to write that? Because it's like 2 different. It's the B and the A.
Don't worry about the B and A. Just put a check mark in the box. Everybody see on the sheet what says B and A? Just put a check mark in the B part. All right? That makes it easy for everybody? Put a check mark in the B part. All right? Yes, just put a line through the A part. Put a line through the A part. All right? Everybody ready? All right.
No.
Who's not ready?
B.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Okay, we ready now?
Yes.
All right, so number 1, I can explain the biological definition of evolution, which means when you think about evolution, you can explain it to a point to where you're confident in it. We just talked a little bit about it, but can you explain it biologically? Can you confidently say if you saw the word definition, somebody asked you to write the definition, that would be pretty much self-explanatory to somebody else who's reading it? Can you do that? Can you do it a little bit? You will put, you will check 1. Can you do it pretty good? You will check 2. Can you do it almost perfectly? You will check 3. If you can write that definition hands down with no questions, you will check 4.
Definition hours or?
In your words, in the biological wise, the biological way, or term of evolution. All right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Everybody got it? Okay. Number 2, I can discuss how observations made by Darwin on the HMS Beagle led to the development of the theory of natural selection and descent with modification. What does that mean? What was the HMS Beagle? It was a ship. What did he do on this ship? He went to the island. All right? So, you know he went on the ship. You know the ship took him to Galapagos Island. What did he do on the island? All right. So now you know what it was, where he went, and what he was doing. If you can explain proficiently, if you can explain basically exactly what he was doing, what he observed, and how he came up with his theory, perfectly you would put number 4. And how you would descent or modification, how you naturally select based upon his theory, you would put 4. If you know pretty much about it, what was going on with the finches, what he observed, how the observation gave him his theory, pretty much, you would put 3. If you know a little bit about him, if you know what happened, what the differences between the birds were, you would put 2. If you just know there was some birds on the island and he was there, you would put 1. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody got it? Everybody ready? Is anybody that's not ready? We can move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number 3, I can explain the influences of other scientists, Malthus, Wallace, Hutton, Lyell, and Lamarck, in formulating Darwin's ideas about natural selection. What does that mean? We know one scientist was talking about baby boom. He was talking about babies being born faster than people could die or die. And that led to a result of him theorizing that if the human population continues to grow, there will be limited food and limited space. Remember we talked about the 1-bedroom apartment?
Yes.
Okay. We had one scientist talked about that. Lyell and Hutton. Lamarck. We had another scientist that talked about, you know what, we have theorized and we have surmised the earth is millions of years old. And the changes, the things that causes the earth to change back then will cause the earth to change again. We had another scientist that said, if you got something, an organ on your body, and you do not use that organ, eventually you're going to lose it. If you know which scientist made which theory or came up with which theory, if you can connect those dots, and you know positively and surely how they actually came up with it, or that they came up with it, and how Darwin applied it to his theory, you will put a 4. If you know basically what those theories are, how they came up with those theories, you can pretty much explain those theories and who came up with those theories, you will put a 3. If you just know those theories, you will put a 2. If you have no clue who these people are, you have no clue, you don't really know that much about the theory, you'll put a 1. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions so far? Any concerns so far? Everybody good? All right. Can we move on?
Yes.
All right. Question number 4. I can summarize key parts of Darwin's theory of natural selection and contrast Darwin's idea about changing organisms over time with Lamarck's. So basically, they said if you can do a comparison analysis, or if you can compare the two, if you can put Darwin right here, and you can put Lamarck right here, and you can list their theories, and you can look at the two and tell the differences and the similarities between the two, well, and know what they were talking about, and know how to separate the two, I know those two actually come together, well, you put a 4. And you know Darwin's theory, and you know Lamarck's theory, but you necessarily don't know where they join or know where they're different. For the most part, you'll put a 3. If you know who Darwin is, you know who Lamarck is, and you know their theories, you'll put a 2. If you just know their name, have no clue their theory, what their theories consist of, you just put a 1. Everybody understand that? Is anybody confused about that? Any concerns? All right. All right, everybody good? All right. So now what we're going to do? You want to start? You want to, number 2?
Choose.
All right. So the 2 concepts from 1 to 4 that you're the most confident about, you will write about those 2. Everybody understand that? You will grab a sheet of paper. If you need the aid of a book, you can go and get the aid of a book, but you will write about those 2.
Raise your hand if you do not have a book at your desk. Look underneath your desk, look to the side.
An example, if you choose number 1 and you're pretty confident about number 1, you will write your own definition of the biological evolution. You'll write your own definition of biological evolution based upon what you know in your mind. You'll write your own definition. Everybody understand that? How you see it, because you know it so well.
What about number 4?
If you're number 4, if you're confident in number 4, you would write about what Darwin said, what his theory was. You would write about what Lamarck's theory was. And then you will actually compare and contrast them. You will put how they were similar and how they were different. You will put what Darwin believed, you will put what Lamarck believed, and you will say,
Just those 2?
just those 2. Just those 2. You can write, well, no, grab another sheet of paper. Grab another sheet of paper. If you were confident in number 2, you would write in detail about the HMS Beagle, the Galapagos Islands, Darwin, what he observed, how he observed it, and how he came up with his theory. You write everything you would know about that situation in totality. If you're confident in number 3, you'll write down those scientists' names. You'll put their theory beside the name, and you put what their theory meant, and how it applied to Darwin's theory of natural selection and evolution. And you would explain it in detail. Does everybody understand those instructions? Anybody confused about what to do on the paper with those instructions? So everybody good? Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, get started.
This begins on page 375 in the book. 375.
Yes, ma'am.
It has to be a paragraph. The 2 that we see has to be a paragraph.
At least a paragraph. To write out a complete thought that you may have, it's going to take a paragraph or more. Huh? For both of them. Because you're choosing 2. You're choosing 2. So for both of them, to have a complete thought to really explain in detail, it's going to be a little bit more than a paragraph, I'm sure. No. Yes, ma'am. We'll call me. Yes, ma'am. For you to explain in detail. Now, I do understand that number 1, the biological evolution, the biological definition of evolution may not be that long. So I expect that to be real short.
Well, do we have to put a detail?
You can if you want to. It's your definition. It's in your own words.
Can I put that? Because like how the animals change over time, like the giraffe change over time.
But what exactly, why did they change that?
Because of evolution.
But why?
Because the food got hard.
See what I'm saying? It's a little bit more detailed than that. See what I'm saying?
Things change.
Yeah, things change, but why do they change? No, don't do that, now. Don't change your face. Why do they change? Huh? I know they do. We all know they do. You change your wardrobe over time, but why? Why do you change your wardrobe over time?